Trucking, got my chips cashed in. Keep trucking, like the doodah man. Together, more or less in line. Just keep trucking on.
Arrows of neon and flashing marquees out on Main Street. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and it's all on the same street. A typical city involved in a typical daydream. Hang it up and see what tomorrow brings.
Dallas, got a soft machine. Houston, too close to New Orleans. New York, got the ways and means and just won't let you be.
Most of the cats that you meet on the street speak of true love. Most of the time they're sitting and crying at home. One of these days they know they gotta get going. Out of the door and down to the street all alone.
Trucking like the doodah man once told me you got to pay your hand. Sometimes the cards ain't worth a dime if you don't lay 'em down. Sometimes the light's all shining on me. Other times I can barely see. Lately it occurs to me. What a long, strange trip it's been.
Yeah, I think it was Justin who asked in the comments, what are my thoughts on center pull brakes? And I really like them. Took me a little bit to figure out how to set them up and to get the right brake pads. But once I figured that out, I've been really happy with them. I am running the Cool Stop. They're the Eagle Claw, I believe, and they're a salmon compound. And I really like those brakes. I tried some others. I tried the Cool Stop Mayfac style 4-dot pads, and maybe I just didn't know at the time how to set the brakes up properly, but I didn't get as good of braking that I do now. I tried some Jaguar pads. They were a black compound, and they worked pretty well too. But once I got the Eagle Claws, and I really paid a lot of attention to getting the brake pads set and aligned properly and making good contact with the rim. Been perfect ever since. So, you know, they do work. And so I like the braking performance. I don't know if they're better than cantilevers that are set up properly, and I don't know if they're better than caliper brakes that are set up properly. I think any rim brake that's just set up properly will work very well. Why I like these is they're very streamlined with the frame. They don't stick out like cantilever brakes do. They are large. They're a large size, so they just barely fit over the fenders, and I like the way they look. The crossover cable is really short compared to cantilever. Cantilever has a big, I guess, straddle cable they call it. It's really wide. So I don't know if that would interfere with your rack or whatever, but this one doesn't interfere with anything. It's really easy to take on and off when you want to remove the tire. And that was something that that takes very good, well, for the frame builder, it took a lot of work to make sure that those braze-ons were set just right, because they needed to be set at the right level on the fork and on the seat stays in order to allow the brake to open, because when it opens, the center pull is the opposite of a cantilever. It actually, in order to open the brake, the caliper closes the other way on top, So if you don't get it set right, you won't be able to open the brake with a fender to get your tire off. But careful location, careful positioning, and it works out. For me, it worked out great. And I do have 62 millimeter wide fenders, 48 millimeter wide tires, and I'm able to remove the tire with the fender on and the tire inflated. And I know some people out there have struggled with that because sometimes those posts are not in the right spot. What else do I like about them? I think they just look nice. They're very streamlined, and the parts are really cheap. You know, brake pads I think are around $5 up to maybe $10 for a pair, depending on where you live. And they last a really long time, and the braking is very good. I'm using Arrow brake levers, and I don't know what the pull ratio is on them, but it seems to be enough to make the brakes work. And yeah, so anyway, I like them. They may not be for everyone, I understand that, and I'm sure cantilevers are much easier to maintain. They're a little bit simpler. V brakes are very powerful. If you get cantilever brakes and you don't like them, you can always go to a V brake, which is a nice option to have. Once you braze on your center pole mounts, you cannot use cantilever brakes or V brakes with those posts. They're not in the right position. But there are several companies that make center pole brakes. You've got Paul Components in Chico, Grand Bois in Japan. You have Compass or Renaers in Seattle. You can get the old style Mayfac Raids, which is what I have. And there's a long reach. So there are options out there. There's probably others that I'm forgetting, but plenty of options. So it's not like it's not like they're gonna go extinct or anything. In fact, it might even be coming back a little bit. I don't know. Center poles are nice. I do like them. And I have a steel cable hanger on the front here. This is a steel hanger, and it's got a shorter drop to it, so the cable had to be carefully positioned around the stem, as you can see. So I made the cable kind of loop over the stem. There are some stems that have a hole in the center, which allows the cable to go straight through. Some stems have a hole in the center, which allows the cable to go straight through. And that's a pretty interesting idea. I've heard of people drilling their own holes, but I don't recommend it, because that stem, the structural integrity of that stem is absolutely critical for your life safety. So I wouldn't recommend doing it, but if somebody manufactures it that way, it's made that way, then okay. But remember, when you drill a hole, you reduce the cross section of the stem. Plus, as you're braking, all of your weight is going forward onto your hands. Also, the cable's pulling down on the stem. So you're getting a lot of stress on a stem, especially if you're going downhill and you're braking hard. So I just wouldn't recommend drilling my own, but some people do, and they've had no problems.
Got to mellow slow, it takes time. You pick a place to go and just keep trucking on.
Sitting and staring out of the hotel window. Got a tip, they're gonna kick the door in again. I like to get some sleep before I travel, but if you got a warrant, I guess you're gonna come in.
Busted down on Bourbon Street, set up like a bowling pin, knocked down. It gets to wearing thin, they just won't let you be.
You're sick of hanging around and you like to travel. Get tired of traveling, you wanna settle down.